So my name is Shane. I'm with the Mid-Atlantic Paranormal Project, if I can get it out. We have on the line today Matt from P.I.E, and we have the founder of M.A.P.P, which is the group I'm with, Tony. I don't know if you guys want to say hi, and then we'll kind of get...
Yep,
Matt,
thank you for joining us. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
No problem, no problem.
So we thought it'd be kind of cool to go out and find folks that make equipment, paranormal equipment, and give them a platform to kind of introduce what they do, how they do it, and tell us a little bit about what they make, whether it's one piece or multiple pieces, and we would share it with the paranormal nation out there. And so we have with us today, as I mentioned, Matt from P.I.E. Matt is a, I guess you're kind of an engineer, Matt, if you're putting together some of this technical equipment. Do you want to give a little bit about your background and some of the equipment that you make?
Sure. I've been investigating for a little over 30 years. I was doing it with a group. I no longer have a group. I just kind of do it on my own and with other groups when they invite me in. I've investigated with every piece of equipment out there. So I basically, and I couldn't find anything that got me excited. Everything, it's the same thing for years. It's been the same thing. So I decided to kind of make my own. I went towards the audio because that's what interested me the most. So that's why I started with the diode, which I didn't invent. That was invented, in the 60s. And then it just kind of went away. And I never really understood that because it always got good results. And then it just kind of went away. No one used it anymore. So I brought that back. I've got the original one that I make, and then I've got two of my own versions that I make. They basically do the same thing. They're just different shapes. One has two germanium diodes instead of the one, so it's a little, a bit double. I just came out with my Raudive diode version 2, and it's got a little different internal workings that I kind of invented that because after doing research for my other one, I saw what needed to be done and what was happening. So I did some research and figured out how to do that. I've built my own. I guess it's a little different than the SLS camera. As far as I had the camera, the lens and everything, the whole camera system custom built for me. It runs on the two lenses, and you got a split screen. It has like a tablet, a 10-inch tablet for the screen. So you can record video, you can do everything. That one of the lenses was full spectrum, and the other lens is what the human eye sees. It's like regular, what you see. That didn't go over for some reason. I thought it would. I mean, I would think every investigator would want that because if you see something in the full spectrum, let's say an orb. I can't stand orbs myself, but let's say, you see an orb in the full spectrum. Well, if you see it in the regular spectrum, more than likely it's a dog or a bug or dust or something like that. If you don't see it in the regular spectrum, but you see it in full spectrum, then you might want to take a closer look at it.
Right.
Just things like that. And then I also made like a splitter so that you can run two microphones into one recorder. If you have if you're doing a house, let's say, and you've got a microphone in this bedroom and a microphone in this bedroom, you can run them into the same recorder. And if you I use like I use the Zoom recorders. So they're 4-channel, it's a 4-channel recorder, but not everybody uses that. So they might have a regular recorder here and a regular one channel here and one channel here, and they want them both to go into one.
Excuse me.
So that's a little bit about what I'm making. I'm in the process now of making, it's sort of like a ghost box where you can listen to it live, but it uses a germanium diode instead of a radio where it just scans constantly. So that's.
I'm gonna ask you a couple questions. Let's talk about the diode. What's the principle behind the diode, and how does it work?
Actually, let's see. I've got one down here. I don't know. Let me see if I can get it into the picture here. This is just one I made for me, so it's like a clear 3D printed clear. You can, I mean, I don't make those normally, but it's the same as how I make them. This copper disc here on the top, I don't know if you can see that in the camera, that's the antenna. Instead of having like a fold out, antenna, this is the antenna because I went with copper because copper is a little bit more conductive. And that's the main reason why I went to that. The germanium diode, which is used, it was used for like AM radios in this was probably 60s or 70s. It was used for AM radios. They put them in TVs, and what it does is it. I don't know how to explain this, so it's not super technical, but it's basically like it's like an antenna itself,
Okay.
but it doesn't record any, like on the diode, it doesn't record any ambient noise. Okay, so then you've got like see if you can see this, like it's 3.5, and it just goes into like on your recorder, there's a line in,
Yep.
It plugs right in, just like that. So it's basically, it works as an external microphone, but it picks up no ambient noise. It only picks up
Spiritual conversation.
I mean, it's not going to pick up like knockings on a wall or footsteps, or it's not going to pick up anything like that.
So is it sort of like a PSB7 without the white noise? Is that kind of where
Yes.
it's kind of going? Okay.
Yeah, and you can't. There's no speaker. I mean, so you can't listen to it. You got to review what you record with it. It's not there's no external speaker.
Well, I have one. I have one that's shaped like for the mic, and then do an external speaker from that same recorder and be able to hear what is actually recorded.
Right. Yeah. If you have like the line in and a line out, yeah, and then you hook a speaker to it. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Some recorders don't let you. I don't think the Zoom camera or Zoom recorders allow you to do that, but there are.
Yeah, this one does. This is a Zoom, but yeah, like the H1s, I believe the Zoom H1s, they don't.
Right.
And some of the Sonys don't as well.
Okay.
So that's the.
Now, is the copper part supposed to be facing up, or is it supposed to be facing down?
Up.
Up? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and you want to. The reason I put this long of a cord on here is because you want it as far away from the recorder as possible. Otherwise, you're going to get interference.
Right, and feedback.
And feedback, correct? Yeah.
Yeah. When you do the speaker, you definitely want to keep that as far as possible because they will give you feedback with the speaker. So.
Right. Correct.
I love the piece of equipment.
So, like these recorders, they have a speaker built into them already, so you don't need to run an external one if you don't want to. I mean, you could,
right.
But they also have a setting. The reason I use them, the reason why I like them, is they have a setting on them to where you can use them with this connected, with the diode connected. And the diode won't pick up any ambient noise, but because this has 5 microphones in it.
Wow.
So you'll pick up, it uses this. So like if you're in an EVP session, let's say, asking questions, this will record your questions and then the answers will come through on your diode.
Okay.
So that you just have to, when you go back through your review, you have to be able to mark your conversation, mark what goes with what.
Right.
Okay. So what kind of cool things have you caught on the diode? Have you caught anything that's been like wow, that was pretty cool. Is there anything?
I've caught a lot of stuff, but not. Let me go backwards a little bit. What I consider an EVP is if you ask a question and you get a good direct sentence or an answer, a good direct answer, that to me is considered an EVP. I don't label my EVPs A, B, C, all these different how people label them.
Yep.
If you ask, let's say I've done this 100 times. I'll be in an EVP session and I'll say, "How did you die?" And you'll get on a PSP7 or a spirit box, wherever they're using, you get apple. Okay, the word apple will come out, and then someone says, "Oh, well, they must have choked on an apple, or an apple must have hit them in the head," or I don't consider that. If you go on my website, I've got a page with like 10 EVPs that I record. I do an EVP session in my living room every night using a PSP7 that I detuned so it doesn't pick up any radio waves. It's just strictly white noise, whether it's AM, FM, whatever you do. It's strictly white noise. So I know, and like I'll have there's one on there. Oh, that's my phone. A second, let me. I have one on there that I specifically say, "My name is Matt." I introduce myself, and then I get back a voice that says, "Hello, Matt," real loud. I mean, real clear, real loud. So it's something like that. Or I'll ask. I've got another one on there where I ask, "What is your name?" Can you tell me your name or whatever? And they'll say, "My name is Evil," which they're not. I don't believe in evil. It was probably just messing around, but it says, "My name is Evil," just like if you and I were having a conversation. I mean, it's clear, it's there, or I've got those I consider EVPs. If it's just a whisper that you got to really listen to and with a headphone or something like that, I don't consider an EVP. Most people do. That's fine. That's just how I don't really concentrate on it as much. I have, though, in order to get a good EVP, I've got them in reverse. I've got them where I've had to slow them down, or I've had to speed it up, or I've had to change the pitch, to get the voice, because they're not always super clear like you and I are having a conversation. They're all different. The ones in reverse, you just know if you ask a question and you get something and it sounds like a different language or something, I always reverse it. And I've got ones on there and it says, you reverse it and it says, "Help me," or, whatever. So real clear, then, everybody just kind of looks at an EVP and they're like, oh, they just kind of dismiss it if it doesn't sound like what they want, I guess.
Yeah, everybody's always looking to read more into some of the EVPs. We get the same thing where people are looking to kind of think that they're having a conversation with something, and it's really picking up the radio station. There's really no rhyme or reason. We get the same thing with the Ovilus. We have the Ovilus, and sometimes it's just a random word, and you could kind of read into that if you wanted to, but we really try to take it at face value. So we're kind of, we're in the same boat as you are. We're trying to really throw out the crap and really try to figure out, is this intelligent conversation or intelligent response coming back on some of the equipment.
Right.
Yeah. So that's real cool. That's cool that you've brought this thing back, the diode, and really trying to get it out there again. And like Tony mentioned, we have one. We have used it. We were curious, when I told Tony we were going to do this today, we were like, man, this is going to be so cool, because, you really want the expert's opinion on how to set it up and how to go about collecting the evidence. And so I know we're both excited now to get it back out into the world, and after this conversation today, and really test it out. But
yeah, and like I don't know I get messages how to use things all the time. So I don't always keep it right. I don't know if you were the ones that messaged me about should you leave it going while you're doing the setup or just during the the investigation.
No,
And
it wasn't us, but that is a good question. So what was your answer?
I always on mine. I always leave mine up as soon as I get there. I turn it on and I leave it until I leave. I mean, that's just because whether I've caught probably more EVPs during setup than I have during the investigation. Also, people always ask me, "Oh, well, do you get more EVPs at night or during the day?" I'm like, "Well, I get more during the day actually but a lot of people, I guess, because of the shows that they see on TV and things like that, they're all at night, and they all think they have to do this at night, and that's the only time they get EVPs or anything. So yeah,
really for me, the true sense of why we do it at night is because you don't want outside noise. So you try to do it at night so you don't get that outside interference. It has nothing to do with who wants to sit in the dark in a closet and have something to tell you. I'd rather see it, than to do that. But that's really the true reason, I believe, behind why we do it in the dark.
Yeah, the only times I do the day ones is if I'm like out doing like an abandoned cemetery or a plot of land somewhere or a mine, or I've done caves, where when you're down in there, you don't get any sound. I mean, a semi truck could be right outside honking its horn and you're not going to hear it. I mean, if you're down deep enough. So, I mean, I'm not super worried about that. But if it's on Native American ground, like most of them, you're not going to have traffic and, a lot of that anyway. You're going to, so I don't worry about that a lot during the day, but that's one consideration I do take, take into, and if, when I go into an investigation. Well, should this be done at daytime, nighttime, whatever. That's one of the things I do look at.
That's cool. Hey, can I ask you a quick question about that camera? So you said it really wasn't a big seller. You had high hopes for it. I'm interested in that, and I think it looks cool. Can you tell me what makes it different from the SLS? Like, we know the SLS does the stick figures. You've already said that it has 2 cameras. It looks at full spectrum. What else does it do? The stick figures? What does it do different? No. Okay.
No, so it's just basically what it is it's got 2 lenses that give you a split screen, but one. So it's like having 2 cameras mounted on a tripod. Okay. One is a full spectrum and one is a regular video camera, and they're both just being fed into one viewer, basically. Okay. That's kind of how this is. But what I did was I 3D printed I would probably say, other than, really the only thing that's not 3D printed is the camera, the internal camera part of it, the tablet, and the handle. Everything else is 3D printed, basically, that I did. And I had it out for 6 or 7 months, but one of the reasons why, and this is all on my website, it's got pictures of it and everything, but one of the reasons why I took it off was because I got an email, a couple emails actually, from a major company, paranormal, that builds paranormal equipment. And they said, you're going to have to take your camera off because that was our idea. And they didn't have anything like it. They had a camera, but as I pointed out to them, it was just a dual lens dash cam, and they skinned it with their 3D print skin. It was a small 2.5 inch was like the viewing thing, and it wasn't really anything like it, but they said it was our idea first.
What, do they have some sort of patent? Is there patent pending on that?
I don't think there is. I couldn't find anything, but it's just a dash cam. It's not,
Right.
But they said it was their idea to make one lens full spectrum and one lens regular. and have it split screen. But I mean, it's like, if you look at theirs and you look at mine, it's completely different. I mean, it's not even close. Other than that, that's the only similarity. You can't mount theirs on a tripod. Mine you could. You couldn't really. I mean, you could carry it around, but you had to carry it, like a regular, like a sandwich. This one had a handle you could carry. Mine had a handle you could carry. Mine recorded. Theirs didn't record anything. Mine recorded video, audio. You could, if you had a hotspot, you could do like a Facebook Live or Zoom. I mean, this wasn't available then, but I mean, Skype, Zoom, whatever. So I don't know. And nobody knew I got so many questions on it. Nobody knew the concept. They were like, what is it supposed to do? I mean, and I showed them. I even did a video of it. I did a video of when it was done. I also did a video of me using it on an investigation so people could see how it's supposed to be used. And they were like, well, that won't help our investigation at all.
Huh.
But
I wouldn't listen to that. Yeah. I wouldn't listen to that. I would keep going with your ideas. I wouldn't listen to all that.
Yeah. Well, they,
And are they still selling and manufacturing that camera?
I believe, but last that I know, I haven't even really. Once they sent me those emails, I was like, I'm not even, I don't even go to their website. I haven't gone anything.
Well, we're allowed to have competition, so I think you should keep going.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons I was kicked off my last group, because I wanted to start building my own equipment, and they're like, no, that's against what we're doing. So, like, okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to keep using K2s and what you're using, then that's fine. Then
Yeah, we like to do different equipment. We like to try different experiments too, and find different ways to use old equipment. So, yeah.
I think I looked on your guys' website, and I've used just about all of your equipment except for those lights that you have that lines like a hallway.
Yeah.
Maps lights or whatever they're called. You call them. They're like little flat octagon things.
Right. Yeah,
and the S box. I don't know if that's like a regular, like a spirit box. I don't know. I mean, I've used spirit boxes before.
Yeah. So we, just to tell you a little bit about our equipment. So I'm the tech manager, and so we do try everything. I mean, we're in this for kind of the scientific reason behind it. We don't do prompting, we don't do taunting. We really try to go in and try to figure out, is it knob and tube wiring that's causing people to feel weird and think that people are talking to them, or is it something that's there? We go in, trying to debunk and trying to prove everything we possibly can. I mean, we have a pretty big arsenal of equipment. We go in with, anywhere from 10 to 15 recorders, and we have a DVR system, and we have the normal stuff that you talked about, the normal things. But we do try to, enhance what we have in our arsenal. If something doesn't quite work right, we try to figure out a better way to do it. Our whole thing is we want to investigate. We don't want to spend all night setting up equipment.
Right.
So the quicker we can get it done, and really that's the thing for us is quickness. We don't want to sit there and have to. I mean, the wire running for the DVR camera is brutal. I mean, anybody that does this knows that.
Yeah.
So anyway, we can efficiently get everything out and get to investigating. We're a happy team. We work with other teams. We're not one of those, go away, this is our place. We try to give ideas. We don't sell anything. A lot of people are like, hey, if you help me out, I'll give you some money. And we're not like that. We're all about trying to help people. So, if there's a setting on one of our pieces of equipment that works well for us, we'll share it. If there's something else, some tip or trick that we found, we share it. We put it on our Facebook page and on our website of all the little tips and tricks that have helped us. So why wouldn't we help another group to not have those issues? Or if there's a piece of equipment that we really don't think is that great, it's just our opinion, but we're going to share it. So we really try to go out and try to help people. You know, this stuff's too expensive, and this is a hobby. We don't do this professionally. So, you know, we really try to help one another. And that's why we wanted you on today, because we like your equipment. We think your equipment's reasonably priced. You're not trying to, I mean, you can tell you're not trying to gouge somebody.
No, I'm basically just kind of covering the parts, you know, the parts of it. I'm not, you know, I don't know what you probably paid for that SLS camera, but when it first came out, it was like $1,300, and I know it doesn't cost them $1,300 to make. I mean, that's a, you know.
Yeah, I found somebody that was doing it on the side, and he got me a pretty good deal. I mean, I think I paid less than $400 for it, which is pretty much the cost of parts.
Right.
I priced it all out. You know, the tablet's the most expensive part.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everybody has kind of consumed or gobbled up all the Xbox and Xbox One Connect pieces now. So, you know, they're premium on eBay. They weren't so premium, you know, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago when nobody cared about Xbox. So I got a pretty good deal on it. There is no way I would pay $1,300 for that. I mean, we see some of these things and it's just like, wow, this is crazy. You can't have that much money in the parts.
Right.
But you know,
well, that's like the deal. I've actually got. Let me grab it real quick. It's right here. This is the prototype of the spirit box that I'm making with a germanium diode. So it's going to be like this is the speaker. And in the middle. So it's going to be sort of like that, you know, like this. But yeah, I mean, the parts I'm waiting is the biggest thing right now is I'm waiting for parts. And, you know, I get messages all the time saying, when are you coming out with this or whatever? And it's like, well, I'm waiting for the parts. So that's the biggest.
They're all coming from China?
No, not all of them. But a lot of them are, but I get them all here. But it's people that did get them from China, and they got them in a big bulk thing, you know, so they're selling them out. But now they can't really get them, so I can't get them. So it's you know, it's a big deal. So on this, what I may have to do is figure out because this is going to have an amplifier in it, so that it'll amplify the noise coming out of it. And that's the only thing that's going to run off a battery. That's the only thing that needs power. Like my diodes don't need a power. They run off just a really tiny bit off of the recorder. But that's going to have an amplifier in it. So it's going to need like a 9-volt battery. And so I might have to figure out a way to because I don't want someone to have to take the whole back off, have to take it all apart just to change out a battery. So I'm going to have to figure out some way to like 3D print a battery compartment for it. So, you know.
A little project box and tuck it in there somehow, maybe.
Yeah, I was even thinking like on a, you know, the electric guitars that have an amplifier built into them?
Yep.
Like the little speakers or whatever. They got like the little push-in battery compartments.
Oh, yeah.
That hold like a 9-volt battery. I was thinking maybe something like that. If I could. I don't know if I can even get those because most of those come from China, I think. So
there's these things too. I don't know if you can see what I'm showing you here, but there's this too that you could
right. Yeah.
Housing just kind of clips in on the back. But
yeah, but it would. Yeah, I might. That might be just like clipping on here. I was trying to keep it all like contained, but.
Flush and
I might not be able to do that right now. So,
well, yeah, I'm sure you'll think of some creative way to get it in there.
Yeah, I'll figure something out. So
if the parts came in, how quick do you think you could you'll have those available?
These up here that I just showed you.
Yeah.
Probably if I had all the parts right there in front of me, it would take me probably about an hour to build. So. But it takes, I mean, you know, like this is all 3D printed.
Yeah.
Whole housing. So, and it's 3 pieces, the front, the back, and the sides. That's all, you know, 3 different pieces. So it takes like 6 hours, 8 hours sometimes to print those.
Wow.
So
if you get off the order in, you could be at it for months trying to fulfill all the orders.
If they go over, I don't know. I mean, it might be like my camera where it might not even go over, People look at this and be like, well, I don't want that. I want a radio to sweep. I don't want a germanium diode or something. I don't know. I mean, that's one thing with this field. You have no idea what people, because everything they've used the same equipment for so long, they really don't want to get out of it. I mean, I don't mind using like a K2 or I can't stand REM pods, but what do they call the
Meters.
It detects. It's kind of like a K2, but it shows it has a meter and stuff on it.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I've gone into an investigation before, and it was in the kids' room. And the parents were telling me, oh, well, our kids are, having hallucinations and they can't sleep. They're having headaches and all this. I think there's something in their room. So we go in, and I go in with a K2. And first of all, there's Wi-Fi everywhere because they got Wi-Fi running everywhere. But if you go around on the outside of their house, right where on the inside, right where the kid's head is, where their bed is, the headboard, right on the outside of the house is the electrical box.
Yep.
I'm like, well, right there. If your kid would probably flip around or move to the other side of the room or something, there'd be no issue.
Tony and I just went to a place, and we had the same thing happen. We walked into the 3-year-old's bedroom, and the headboard was the electrical box,
right.
And we put the K2 up to him, and it
begged.
Yeah. They couldn't figure out why he was seeing things.
Yeah, I know.
And it was going off even 2 feet away from the box. So it was leaking a lot, yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy, And then you get people like that I understand, they don't understand, and that's fine. I know they're not, gonna understand that stuff. But then you've got paranormal investigators that should understand that don't, and they're saying, oh well, my K2 is spiking. There must be something paranormal in this room. They don't. They just go into the room and see it spike, or they use the K2 for communication. I cannot stand that. I don't know. You guys might do it. I shouldn't say.
No, we don't. Or they have their cell phone in their back pocket and forget to turn it off.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we're with you. We've been on so many public investigations, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, the little bedroom is the hot spot," and we go in there and we're like, "Okay, we're not getting the same thing." And they're like, "We're like, come back in here and show us. Where were you hitting it at?" And they're like, "Right here." And we're like, okay, well, let's take our K2, and we go around their body, and their cell phone is in their back pocket, and there's the demon ghost coming out of your back pocket.
Yeah, I did an investigation at a abandoned cemetery that was supposedly in the middle of it was a vortex. Well, these people had me come out, and I was investigating with them, and they were using their K2s and everything, and all of a sudden everything just spiked all at once, and they got all excited and everything, and they said the guy that was holding the K2 said, "Oh, well, I just got a text," and well, that's what spiked everything, because he just got a text. It wasn't something paranormal coming out of the vortex. It was because you got a text, and that sent a wave, and that spiked everything. So I mean. Yeah, it's crazy. So
rookie mistake, and I think it's just every time you go out, and this is the way we feel. Every time we go out, we learn something new.
Right.
And I think after your first investigation, your second investigation, if you have people that have experience with you, you should learn that.
Right.
And you can also be going around trying to challenge things. If you've got a high spike, is it you kind of go around and try to pinpoint where it's coming from, and if you're really good at it, you're going to see it's coming from your cell phone. Yeah,
exactly. Well, one thing that I think, in my opinion anyway, that's hurting everybody, all these, all these paranormal groups that don't learn something from every time they go out, is the shows. Because they look at, oh, well, this show's been on for, 6 years or 7 years. They're still doing the same thing. So that must be the way to do it. So if it spikes, then it spikes. You know, I mean, and their EVPs, they put right as the EVP, as you're hearing it, the EVPs might come out and then they stay right there. So it's difficult for people to say what is and what isn't an EVP.
Right. They're putting the power suggestion in there when they put the words up on the screen.
Yeah.
And the TV shows have really dramatized our field. And if we watch the shows, it's pretty much to learn what not to do.
Yeah.
And when we actually allow homeowners or business owners to attend our investigation at their location, they see firsthand that it's not all the glam and all the glory that you see on TV. That it is hours and hours of sitting there talking to yourself in the dark.
I know. That's what the people don't understand.
See the real side of things. Yeah.
They're, you know, the TV people, they're there for like a week filming this thing, but they only see an hour of it. And then they think, oh, it must be great then, you know.
Right. And we don't bring the dramatic sound effects in the background when we heard something. Yeah. We don't have that in the background either.
I know it. Yeah, you know, I contacted Ghost. I think it's what's the one with Zach Bagans? Ghost Adventures or something? Is that what it is?
I think so.
I contacted them to get my diode on there because I figured, well, you know, that's good. That'll be good advertising. Everybody watches Ghost Adventures. They wanted $5,000 per episode to use my equipment on their show. I'm like, that's ridiculous. You know, I mean, these little $25 diodes, I would have to sell like 1 million of them before I even broke even. I mean, it wouldn't even, you know.
Then you don't have the personnel to sit there and crank out enough to cover.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Wow.
So,
that's
yeah.
This is a good time to note that this is a non-paid advertisement that you agreed to come on here voluntarily. Yeah. We wanted to, to interview somebody in the field who has the know-how to build their own equipment. So we just want that to be out there.
That's a paranormal investigator himself, and he does it for other paranormal investigators, knowing that that's what it is. It's for paranormal investigating. It's not for entertainment or stuff like that.
I think your name says that. Your name definitely says that. So
well, I mean, that's what I've been trying to do, and I was hoping that people wouldn't take it as that, oh, well, he's trying to be another K2 company or something, and be, and over prices stuff and try to take advantage of all these people starting out. It's like, no, I mean, I started out myself. I mean, I know, I don't want to charge a ton of money for something and then people people get tired after one or two times because it didn't work. Well, in paranormal investigating, it takes more than one or two times for something, to work. So,
and not every location is going to be active at that moment too. So you may have to
correct.
Sometimes, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not anything like the TV shows where it's active everywhere they go. It's not like you might go to 10 places before you find one that's super active or something. So I mean, that's just that gets back to how we were talking about the K2 and how the different things
interfere with it. Yeah.
Interfere, yeah, exactly. The electrical, the Wi-Fi. I mean, there's so many things now that can interfere with it. Yep.
That's really cool. So Matt, if somebody wanted to buy your equipment, where would they find you?
They can buy it from my website, which is paranormalinvestigationsequipment.com, but you can only buy it in black.
Okay.
If you go to eBay and just search Raudive diode, I'm like the first 4 on there. I mean, and you can choose the different colors from there. For some reason, I use PayPal on my website, and for some reason they don't let you put different colors on there and let the people choose. I don't know why. But they're the same price either place. It's just one has color choices, one doesn't.
Okay. All right. And the other piece of equipment, the input with the 2 outputs, or the two inputs with the 1 output, they could also purchase that on your website?
I don't have that on there anymore. That was a while ago.
Okay.
I got a picture of it. They can see it and they can read about it, but I don't sell that one anymore. That was another thing why I got a lot of messages saying, well, why can't I just use 2 recorders? I'm like, well, you know, if you want to go spend $50 or whatever for another recorder, that's fine. You know, I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I don't care. They do the same thing. It's just, you know, this is different, had its own volumes for each channel had its own volumes. So you could say this, you can make this mic a little louder than this one if you were doing, you know, different things, or you could hook any mic into it. It didn't have to work just off my diode. You could hook ambient noise microphones to it. You could hook whatever you wanted. So if you had, let's say, for instance, a diode on one channel and a regular microphone on another, you would get the questions and the answers just like the Zoom does, but not everybody has a Zoom. So that's basically why I made it, because, you know, I mean, I think these are like $180 now. I mean, they're not super expensive, but, you know, not everybody, like you said, you know, not everybody's going to go spend that if that's all they're using it for is paranormal investigations. Not everybody has $180 to go spend on a recorder. So, you know.
Well, that's cool. We do appreciate your time with us today.
Sure.
Tony, any additional questions or?
No, I just really appreciate you being here. You know, if you ever have any questions, I don't know, where are you located?
I'm in Arizona.
Okay, Arizona. Okay. We're on the East Coast.
I live in Tennessee, which is kind of by you guys, right? I lived in Tennessee for like 5 years, so.
Okay. Yeah, that's at least over 1,000 miles from me, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty far.
I'm Delaware. I'm close to Philly and New York, so.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I haven't got out there. I've done investigations kind of in that area when I lived in Tennessee, but since I moved to Arizona, I haven't done really anything in that area.
Well, if you find yourself out this way, look us up.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad you checked out our website and you got to see what we're all about.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You also have a Facebook page too, correct?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We try to publish on Facebook and Instagram. We try to put a lot of our evidence out there. We're struggling with YouTube, but eventually we'll get that up and running a little bit better than what we have. But yeah, we're trying it out there. Yep.
All right. Yeah, I have Twitter. I don't have Instagram and Snapchat and all that other stuff. I'm too old for that stuff. So.
Well, I know the feeling.
My kids are on Facebook. You're old, so.
Yeah, I don't have a personal Facebook anymore. I only have it there because I have the paranormal.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I have it, because they won't let you. Facebook doesn't let you put up a business account unless you have a personal account, or they didn't. I don't know if they do anymore or whatever. But.
So I'll tell you what we're going to do next time we have an event. Once all this quarantine stuff is over, and we finally get back out there and satisfy this itch that we're having, we'll actually do a highlight of the diode that we have, and we'll definitely put it out there so everybody can see what it does.
Yeah, yeah. Let me know when that goes out, and I'll take a look at it and see. I put in, and as you know, because you bought a diode before, I put in all of them. I put in a paperwork that says like an instruction thing, how to do the like what you're looking for when you go over the evidence.
Yes.
And I also say, well, if you catch anything, send it back to me. But no one ever sends anything
I
back.
have the instructions. It sits right there on my desk. But yes, okay. We'll definitely send stuff back. Yep.
Well, we'll try to be one of the first people to do that. We were really curious with this call today of really trying to find out more about it. Without having experience, it's kind of trial and error when you go out. You do have the instructions, as you mentioned.
Right.
But you're really...
Well, I get a lot of messages because when you go over the review from them, they're just flatline. So people don't think they work. They're like, oh, well, it must not be working because all I'm getting is a flat line. And that's why I put the instructions, because you're right. You do have to just try. You have to see okay, it's a flat line, yeah, but where there's a little spike, that's where the EVP is. So you want to concentrate in on that spike, you know. But, and I don't know, the one that you bought, did you get the 2.0, the newest one that I just put out, or do you have the regular?
I had the older one, the triangle one. That's the older one, yes.
Okay, the 2.0, the internal is a little bit different.
Okay.
I put 2 extra filters in there, so you will get absolutely no radio. I mean, nothing. You won't get any. I don't want to say nothing because the Germanium diode it'll pick up really light radio or really light waves. Because if I say you'll get it filters out everything, people are like, well, isn't it going to filter out the EVPs? I know exactly what questions I'm going to get about that, but I mean, it doesn't. FM is really strong signal, so you need to, filter some of that out, or you're going to be getting all kinds of stuff, and you won't know if it's an EVP or if it's a radio wave.
Well, you got me curious now. I'm going to go up on your website, go ahead and order the newer one, and plan do them both at the same time for the next investigation and compare the two.
Yeah, I've got on my YouTube channel too. I've got I just put out a video on YouTube on the newer on that 2.0, and it shows the filters and everything that I added to it, so you can.
Okay, I'll definitely check that out. Okay.
What I put in.
If anybody's interested, go check out Matt's Facebook page and his website, and order 1 or 20 or 50.
Yeah, I give discounts for multiples.
That's good. That's good. Well, thanks again for being with us today. I really appreciate it. I know there's